I'm home, I said to the doors as they slid apart, like they knew me and pretended not to. Good morning, Lily said. The word hit the counter and died. Can I help you? You already do, I said. You keep this place running under my name. I'm sorry, ma'am. Are you sure you're at the right place? Her voice tried to be velvet and ended up blade thin. I'm sure. I felt the old heat crawl up my spine, the one that starts where humiliation lives. I'm here to check operations. Do you have a reservation? Her eyes flicked to the screen, then to my face, like maybe the monitor could translate my skin. I have a deed. I let the word sit there. I'm Maya Brooks. Tom drifted closer. His hand found his walkie like it was a good luck charm. Everything okay, Lily? She's insisting, Lily said, softer, like I couldn't hear. I'm not insisting, I said. I'm introducing myself. Tom gave a slow look over my shoes, my coat, my hair, my face. Ma'am, we've had people try things lately. Just policy. Policy. I tasted the word and found rust. A breath later, Mr. Graham's cologne reached me before his mouth did. Is there a problem? I said I'm Maya Brooks, I said. I own this hotel. He smiled like a closed door. Ma'am, you'll need to leave before we call the police. The sting cracked through my ribs. You want to call the police on the owner of the building? We follow protocol, he said. It's nothing personal. Nothing personal is always said after something personal. I steadied my voice. Here. I slid my ID across the counter. Look until your doubt gets tired. Lily hesitated, then glanced at it like heat might leap off the plastic. It says, It says exactly what I said, I cut in. My hands shook and I tucked them into my pocket so no one could claim victory. Tom's thumb pressed the talk button halfway. Do you need assistance, Mr. Graham? Not yet, Mr. Graham said, still smiling, like he was doing me a kindness by ignoring the truth. Ma'am, lots of guests get confused. There's another chain 2 blocks down. Listen, I said. The chandeliers are bought on a line item I negotiated. The floors were fought for in 3 bids. I walked this lobby before it existed. Don't tell me where I belong. You people always think you own everything, he muttered, quiet like a curse he enjoys. You people, I repeated. The phrase hit me in 2 places, the wound where childhood used to be and the scar where pride learned to stand. Say it again so we both hear you clearly. He went still. I didn't mean you said exactly what you meant, I said. And exactly what you've practiced. Lily's gaze ping-ponged between our faces. Maybe we can call the office and I am the office, I said. I am the first name on the first line. I don't need permission to cross my own floor. Tom shifted. Ma'am, calm down. Don't tell me what to do with my voice in a room I built. My throat tightened and I breathed through the pinch. If I whisper, you'll say I'm passive. If I speak, you'll say I'm aggressive. There is no volume that satisfies your disbelief. Mr. Graham tapped the counter like it was a drum and he was keeping order. All right. We're done here. Please step outside. I'll step nowhere, I said. I'll stand exactly where my signature lives. He leaned in, drop of performative patience in his eyes. This is not a debate. It's not, I said. It's a reckoning. Tom, he said without looking away from me, escort the guest. I laughed, short, humorless. I'm not a guest. I'm the reason you have a paycheck to polish that tone. Ma'am, Tom said, closer now, palms open. Let's not make this harder. It was hard when I was 8 and learned my teacher thought I'd cheated because my A surprised her, I said, voice steadying as I spoke. It was hard when a banker told me my numbers were impressive for someone like me. This is practice, Lily swallowed. If you'll just wait a second, I can call... Call who? I asked. Who do you call when the ceiling is the floor? Mr. Graham rolled his shoulders. We're not discussing poetry. We're discussing trespassing, I leaned in. Spell it. Excuse me? Spell trespassing. I tapped my ID. Then spell my name. His smile faltered, a hairline crack. This isn't... I know what it is, I said, quieter now. It's you deciding what I can be, he motioned to Tom. Now. Tom's fingers brushed my elbow. The heat of the contact felt like a brand and a dare. Ma'am, I pulled my arm back, not fast, not slow, just mine. Don't touch me. A couple in the corner pretended not to watch. The silence around us swelled until my heartbeat felt like part of the room's soundtrack. I felt a wave rise, anger, humiliation, something older, and I steadied it with breath like bracing a door. I'll give you one more chance, I said. Look at the ID, say my name. Acknowledge who I am, Lily's lips parted. Ms. Brooks? It came out like a question someone forced her to read aloud. Mr. Graham laughed, the sound like a coat you wear to signal the weather you prefer. Cute. Cute is the word for puppies and press statements, I said. This is costly. He leaned back. 5 seconds before I make the call. Make it, I said. Make the call that tells the city you threatened to arrest a black woman in the building she owns. Make it, and I'll make my calls too. Mine ring louder. His jaw twitched. Tom's eyes slid sideways, measuring exits that weren't meant for me. I felt the familiar tremor in my hands again and embraced it as evidence I still cared enough to shake. 3, Mr. Graham said. I built this place from nothing, I said, more to the ache than to him. From people telling me to wait outside rooms I financed. From meetings where they refused to look at me until I started talking like a ledger. 2, I signed paychecks for the first housekeeper we hired, I said. I sent flowers when her mother died. I remember who we are to each other even when you don't. 1, he reached for the phone. Lily made a small sound, half protest, half surrender. Tom exhaled, a tired wind on a loop. Before you dial, I said. Hear me, he paused. You fire yourself today, I said. Not with paperwork. With words. He smirked, tried to recover his rhythm. Ma'am, step outside. I picked up my ID and slid it back into my wallet with hands that had signed loans and held funerals. No, I said. You'll step out of my future. He lifted the receiver. Security escalation from the lobby. The moment turned thin and sharp, like air before a storm. I pictured headlines, calls, the swarm I could release with one text. I pictured my mother telling me to keep my chin high, not because it was noble, but because oxygen sits higher than shame. Ms. Brooks, Lily whispered. Maybe nothing, I said. You heard him? Mr. Graham nodded at the doors. We'll wait outside together. I don't walk with you, I said. I don't go where contempt leads. He laughed, short, brittle. Tom angled his body between me and the counter, staging politeness as control. I looked at each of them, let my gaze carry the weight they refused to feel. The anger cooled into something more precise. Fury sharpened makes a different kind of blade. All right, I said, turning toward the exit. I'll give you the courtesy you never gave me. Mr. Graham released a satisfied breath. Good choice. At the threshold, I stopped. Listen carefully, I said. You think you won something? He tilted his head, amused. I think I kept order. I think you just made history, I said. Not the kind you put in brochures. I stepped into the morning and felt the air slap my face with its clean, indifferent honesty. My throat loosened around a whisper only I needed to hear. You just fired yourselves? Andre? I said the name like setting a buoy. You there? Always, he answered. Straightforward, the lawyer tone I paid for. What's happened? They didn't recognize me, Dre. My voice started even and then knifed. My face, my name. They only saw my skin. Silence thickened on the line. I felt it as a weight against my teeth. Walk me through it, Andre said finally, low and careful. I walked into my lobby, I said, smiled, said hello. Lily asked if I had a reservation. Tom hovered. Mr. Graham told me to leave before he called the police. I let each name be its own small stone. I showed them my ID. He said, You people always think you own everything. There was a sound from him then, the kind a man makes when a fact does not fit his tidy filing system. That's what he said, I finished. Out loud. He smiled when he said it. And he was slow. Did anyone call you? Did anyone touch you? No, I clamped my jaw. Not touched, humiliated, ridiculed, laughed at in my own lobby. Jesus. Andre's breath was quick. We can sue, Maya. There's actionable. I don't want to sue, I said, before he could lace the words into strategy. My chest tightened. I want to face them. There was a gap long enough for the phone to grow hot against my ear. Face them how? With the truth, I said. With cameras. With witnesses. With the people who laughed when he said, "You people." I want them to have to look at what they did to me, and at themselves while they do it. You want public exposure? Andre asked, disbelief threading his voice. Yes. I heard the word like a match struck. Not for vengeance. For sight. Evelyn's name popped in my head. Steady, cautious Evelyn, and I hit the button to add her. Evelyn's on, I said. She'll fill you in on the logs and the staff messages. Evelyn answered faintly, like someone stepping around broken glass. Maya, I'm so— Don't be, I snapped before she could apologize. My own mouth surprised me. Don't be sorry for them. Be strategic for me. Maybe they were confused, she said, voice small, trying a soft explanation I'd heard 1,000 times. Maybe Lily meant the other hotel. It happens. It happens, I repeated slowly, tasting the dismissal. So when I sign the checks and answer the calls, when I sign the contracts, those things just happen to me? It's possible, Evelyn said, then immediately quieter. I didn't see it, Maya. I wasn't there in the lobby. You weren't there to stop it, I said. The words weren't an accusation. They were a ledger. You were on my calendar and my chain of command. That doesn't erase anyone's sight, Evelyn inhaled sharply. You want me to go on record saying they were racist? You don't have to say the word first, I said. You can say you read the messages. You can say you heard the tone. Say the truth in the language you can stand. She hesitated. Okay, I'll go through the logs again. I'll be honest, Andre cleared his throat. If we do this, it's not just a call. It's press. It's notices. You ready for that? I am, I said. The readiness surprised me. It was not bravery so much as exhaustion turned into resolve. Are you ready? For the headlines? He sounded like he was counting costs in his head. For depositions? For the smear attempts? For everything. I pictured my mother's hands folding laundry the day she taught me to fold shame into something smaller. I want them to have to answer. We can frame it. Discrimination, hostile work environment, emotional distress, Andre said, the lawyer's checklist falling into place. We can file tomorrow morning, serve notice, and invite press. You'll need a statement. Make it simple, I said. No lawyer speak. No victim poetry. Just facts and names and the sentence, I was told I didn't belong in my own hotel. And you'll testify? He asked. I'll testify, I said. The word stuck in my throat like a vow. Evelyn's voice was steadier, a thin thread of solidarity. I'll pull the internal chats. The one where someone jokes about quota hires, it's there. I read it and almost deleted it. I didn't. I saved it. You did the right thing, I said, and felt something in my chest unclench. Andre's cadence evened out. Press tomorrow at 9. We file at 8. We bring witnesses. We document every call, every laugh, every you people. We have to be surgical. Surgical, I echoed. The word felt clinical beside the heat in my gut. And Maya, Andre said, softer now. Are you sure you want the press? I want them to look me in the eye, I said. I want Mr. Graham to say you people to a camera and see what it looks like on him. I want Lily to say my name and mean it. I want Tom to know the weight of his hand when he reached for me. You're asking a lot, Evelyn whispered. I'm asking for truth, I said. And if truth makes people uncomfortable, good. Let them be uncomfortable. Andre ran through logistics, then paused. There will be fallout. Investors may ask questions. The board will panic. I know, I said. Let them panic. Let them choose. Okay, Andre said finally. We make it official. Tomorrow morning. Press and all. I breathed through my nose and let that small, fierce flame settle into something steady. Tomorrow morning, I repeated. Press and all. Get some rest, Evelyn said, voice soft now. You're shaking. I know, I said. I'm shaking because this matters. Andre's voice softened in a way that felt almost like a hand on my shoulder. We'll walk in with facts. We'll make them look. Let's see if they can look me in the eye tomorrow, I said, and the line hummed with agreement. The quiet kind that means allies for now. I'm early, I said to the dawn, to the shutter clicks, to the doorway that pretended not to know me. Flash. Another flash. A mic rose like a blade. Ms. Brooks, a reporter said, breath frosting the morning. What happened last night? I was kicked out of my own hotel because I didn't look like I belonged. A gasp rippled, the kind that tastes like rubber bands snapping. I watched the doors shutter open. Mr. Graham stepped out, half smile. Wrong time. Ma'am, Miss Brooks, I didn't realize. You realized enough to call security. He blinked at the cameras, rearranging his face like furniture. We had a misunderstanding. I spoke my name, I said. You spoke suspicion. Tom hovered by the threshold, jaw clenched. It wasn't personal. That's the problem, I said. It never is until it is. Lily edged forward, hands clasped tight. Ms. Brooks, You read my name like it hurt your mouth, I said. Say it now without flinching. Maya Brooks, she whispered. Her voice shook. Mine didn't. The reporter slid closer. On the record, Ms. Brooks, what words were used? You people always think you own everything, I said, letting each syllable stand on its own feet. He said that while smiling. I didn't mean, Mr. Graham started. You said exactly what you meant, I cut in. And you meant exactly what you've practiced. Andre's shoulder touched mine, light pressure, measured calm. We'll proceed as discussed, he murmured. We will, I said. The promise steadied my spine. Mr. Graham lifted his hands toward the crowd. We value diversity. Save it, I said. Your apology is a PR move. Mine is the press release. Cameras snapped like dry twigs. The reporter's pen scratched. Can you explain kicked out? I was told to leave before they called the police, I said. I showed ID. They looked at it like it was counterfeit and my skin was proof. Tom shifted a step forward, palms open. Ma'am, don't ma'am me into compliance, I said. Name what you did. Proximity isn't respect. I followed protocol, he said, softer. That's all. Protocol is the costume you put on your fear, I said. You reached for your radio before you reached for the truth. Lily's eyes glistened. You should have believed me when I told you who I am, I said. Belief shouldn't require an audience. The reporter angled his mic toward Mr. Graham. Do you deny the phrase, you people? Mr. Graham's smile frayed. I regret my wording. You regret being recorded, I said. Regret and responsibility are not the same language. Andre cleared his throat. Miss Brooks will answer 2 more questions. Then we move inside. We are not moving inside with him, I said, nodding at Mr. Graham. He can listen to us from the curb where he placed me. Ms. Brooks, the reporter said, what do you want this morning? I want eyes, I said. Mine were ignored. Let's test yours. A woman in the back called out. Do you intend litigation? I intend accountability, I said. Litigation is a road. Today is a mirror. Mr. Graham stepped closer, voice lowering for my ears but loud enough for cameras. Miss Brooks, I apologize. You apologize to the crowd, I said. Apologize to the moment. Look at me and say what you did, he swallowed. I misjudged. Name the lens you used, I said. Say it. He stared at the ground. The ground didn't answer for him. Say it, I repeated, quiet. I made a racist assumption, he forced out, brittle words crashing into daylight. I let the sentence hang between us like smoke. Now ask yourself why it took cameras to find that mouth. Tom rubbed his wrist, a nervous loop. I don't hate anyone. I didn't ask if you hate me, I said. I asked why you believed a lie about me faster than a truth from me. I thought I was doing my job, he said. You were protecting comfort, I said. That's not a job. That's a habit, Lily's voice threaded in. I heard the way you said your name. I should have recognized the way certainty sounds. You heard it, I said. You just didn't trust that it belonged to me. The reporter lifted the mic to me again. How did it feel in the moment? Like being erased while standing in my own handwriting, I said. Like watching your mouth say owner while their eyes stamped intruder across your face. Andre squeezed my arm once. Go on. I've been told to wait outside rooms I paid for, I said to the crowd. I've been told to lower my voice when my voice was the only proof I had. Last night wasn't new. It was just filmed early. Mr. Graham tried a softer tone. I want to make amends. Amends begin with removal, I said. Step aside so we can begin the day you tried to deny me. He flinched. The reporter looked between us. Are you firing him now? I don't perform personnel actions for spectacle, I said. I perform them for standards. You'll know soon enough. Andre leaned toward me. You sure about this pace? Completely, I said. They sprinted to judgment. I can walk to justice. Tom sighed. What do you want from me? An account, I said. Tell them what you did when you heard my name. He stared at the mic like it might bite. I radioed for escalation. And why? I asked. Because I thought there was a risk, he said, faltering. The risk was that your assumption would be wrong, I said. And you took it anyway. Lily dabbed her eyes with a sleeve. I believed the person beside me more than the person in front of me. That's the thesis, I said. And the tragedy. A different reporter called out, Ms. Brooks, do you worry about backlash? I worry about quiet, I said. Quiet keeps this alive. Noise is a disinfectant. Mr. Graham straightened, trying to recover a posture he hadn't earned. Let me speak to our values. Our values, I said. Our values require you to stop speaking. He opened his mouth. I lifted a hand. No, the hand stayed in the air a beat longer than necessary. I felt the hush lean toward me, curious, braced. I am going in now, I said to the crowd. I will hold a meeting with staff who want to work where the owner is believed on entry. If you see yourselves in that sentence, follow me. If not, stay where you are and practice your regrets. Andre angled his body between us and the cameras. 2 minutes inside, he said. Statement after. Make the statement clean, I told him. No padding. Use their words as evidence. I don't want to star in their redemption arc. Understood, he said. Mr. Graham took a step as if to block me. I'll escort. You'll witness, I said. Escorting is over. Tom moved aside. Lily's hand hovered over the door panel, unsure. Ms. Brooks, may I open it? You may, I said, meeting her eyes, steady. And you may remember whose threshold this is. She pressed the sensor. The doors parted, obedient at last. The reporter called one last question. Final word before you go in? Yes, I said, turning so the morning could take it. Disbelief is not a neutral act. Yesterday it cost them my grace. Today it may cost them their jobs. I stepped forward. Andre moved with me. The lobby air met my face the way truth meets sound. Sharp first, then survivable. Completely, I said again. Quieter now, to the choice, to the girl I used to be who kept waiting outside. Silence sat heavier than the polished table between us. I could hear the tick of the wall clock counting my restraint. Mr. Patel finally cleared his throat. Maya, this could ruin our reputation. Then maybe, I said. The reputation needed ruining. A low murmur moved through the room, the sound of comfort shifting in its seat. Let's be rational, someone said from the far end. I didn't look to see who. The tone was enough. The kind that tells you rationality is a luxury they never had to earn. Evelyn's voice came next, softer, apologetic even. They said you were aggressive, I laughed, sharp and sudden. It startled even me. Aggressive? For existing? For walking into a building with my own name on the paperwork? They didn't mean, she started. They always mean, I said. They just don't like hearing themselves say it out loud. One of the older members, gray suit and tired arrogance, leaned back in his chair. You've become emotional, Maya, I turned to him. Wouldn't you be if your dignity was treated like a trespass? He frowned. It's not about dignity. It's about discretion. It's always about discretion until it's your pain, I said. Then suddenly it's about truth. Andre hadn't spoken yet. I could feel him simmering beside me, the sound of his pen tapping against his folder, the only sign of his patience thinning. Patel sighed. You went public too fast. We could have handled this internally. Internally? I echoed. You mean quietly? The same way you handle complaints from the cleaning staff, the same way you handle pay discrepancies you didn't notice. Now that's unfair, another voice said. You're turning this into a crusade. I'm turning it into an accountability meeting, I said. Funny how the word changes when the voice does, Andre finally spoke. She's right. Patel looked at him like betrayal had just spoken English. Andre, You're her counsel, not her echo. Andre shut his folder hard enough that papers fluttered. You all talk about optics. She's talking about humanity. The room froze. His voice didn't carry volume. It carried exhaustion. Humanity? Patel said, his tone like he was testing the shape of the word. We built this company on fairness. I leaned forward. No, you built it on my labor and called it fairness because it made you feel clean. Evelyn's hands twisted together. They're scared, she said. The investors are calling. Some want distance. Let them distance, I said. They can invest in silence somewhere else. Maya, Patel said again, more measured now. If you destroy them publicly, it affects us all. If I stay quiet, I said, it affects everyone who looks like me and walks through those doors hoping to be seen. Choose your damage. Another voice piped up. A woman this time, someone who'd stayed quiet until now. Do you think this is about color alone? Maybe it was misunderstanding, tone, timing. I think it's about belief, I interrupted. About who gets the benefit of it and who has to prove it exists. She looked away, pretending to take notes she'd never read again. Patel rubbed his temples. This company can't afford another scandal. This company can't afford to pretend anymore, I said. Pretending costs more than truth. Andre placed a hand on my forearm, grounding me. They're not hearing you. Oh, they hear me, I said. They just don't want to acknowledge that sound is coming from someone they didn't expect to speak. Patel leaned back. We can issue a joint statement, acknowledge the situation, affirm our commitment to diversity. Diversity, I said slowly, isn't an apology. It's a photo caption. Evelyn swallowed hard. Maya, please, no, I said. You don't get to plead for calm when calm was the weapon used against me. The man in the gray suit shifted again. You're making this personal. It was personal the second someone saw my skin before they saw my credentials, I said. It's always personal when the disrespect is specific. Andre exhaled through his nose. You're missing the point, he said, turning to them. You keep calling this a PR disaster because you think she's the story. She's not. You are. A few heads dropped. Patel stayed silent. I looked around the table at every carefully blank face. I built this place from my last ounce of belief in fairness, I said. If that belief dies here, it dies loudly. You'll lose allies this way, Patel warned. Then they were never allies, I said. They were beneficiaries. The silence that followed wasn't peaceful. It was the silence of people calculating how to appear decent without being good. Evelyn looked up at me finally. What do you want from us, Maya? I want acknowledgement, I said. Not as policy. As people, Patel crossed his arms. And if we refuse? Then you'll be exposed, I said. All of you. The reports, the chat logs, the minutes from every meeting where you regretted optics. I'll burn what's left of your illusion and light my way out with it. No one spoke. Andre stood. You either stand beside her, he said, or stand exposed. I stood too, looking them each in the eye. Decide fast. Because my silence was never free and it's no longer for sale. The room stayed still. I could hear my heartbeat in the air conditioning. When I walked out, I didn't look back. I didn't need to. The echoes were already loud enough. The call came at 11:42 p.m., the kind of hour when silence feels earned, not interrupted. Maya, Evelyn's voice trembled through the line. Someone leaked the internal chat logs. I didn't move. My fingers tightened around the phone, nails pressing into my palm. Leaked? Everything, she said. Screenshots, messages, threads you weren't supposed to see. I heard her breathing quicken. I didn't ask how it happened. There's always a someone behind a truth set free. Andre joined the call before I could speak. I just got the email too, he said. The journalist already has copies. The silence between us wasn't confusion. It was recognition. I'd been waiting for this day without admitting it. Evelyn whispered, Maya, I'm reading them. You don't want to read them, I said. My voice surprised me. Out loud. A long pause, then her voice cracked as she began. Quota higher. Doesn't even know the business, but the board wanted to look progressive. The words landed like dull knives, slicing more from memory than pride. She walks around like she owns the place. I do, I said quietly. That's the part that terrifies them. Evelyn hesitated. There's more. Keep going. Angry black woman act won't work forever. Someone should remind her who signs her checks. I heard my own breath before I felt it, heavy, controlled. Go on, Evelyn's voice shook harder. I bet she plays the race card if someone looks at her wrong. The line went still after that. My stomach twisted so tight I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. I didn't cry. Not for them. I'd already cried too many times for rooms that pretended not to know me. Andre broke the silence. The journalist says he's going to call you before publishing. Wants your comment. Let him call, I said. I've got a few words left. Maya, this could get uglier, he warned. It already was, I said. Now everyone else just gets to see it. Evelyn sniffed on the other end. They're scared now. I've seen the emails. Apologies flying back and forth, people trying to delete messages from servers. Too late, I said. Screenshots don't forget, Andre sighed. You realize this might take the company down with them. Then maybe it needs to go down before it can stand for something. He didn't argue. Just the sound of him exhaling through gritted teeth, like a man watching a fire he can't put out but doesn't want to. Evelyn's voice returned, softer. There's one message from Mr. Graham. Do you want it? I felt my pulse slow. Say it. She thinks she's the face of diversity. Truth is, she's the reason no one takes it seriously. I closed my eyes. He's right about one thing, I said. I am the face of diversity. Just not the kind they wanted. No one spoke for a long time. The quiet felt thick enough to touch. Finally, the journalist's number flashed on my screen. Hold on, I said. Stay on the line, I answered. Yes? Ms. Brooks, his voice came through, professional but hesitant. We're preparing to run the story. We'd like your statement. What exactly do you want me to say? That you're aware of the leaks? That you understand the implications? I understand, I said. I understand that the world believes racism hides behind closed doors. It doesn't. It hides behind polite smiles, HR memos, and jokes that start with, "Don't quote me on this." He went quiet. I could hear typing. You're not angry? Oh, I'm angry, I said. But anger isn't the story. The story is that I told them the truth in meetings and they laughed. Now they've written their own evidence. He cleared his throat. Would you like to add a final statement? Yes, I said. Tell them my silence is the sound of them being seen. I hung up before he could respond. Evelyn whispered, that was powerful. It wasn't power, I said. It was exhaustion given form. Andre spoke next, calm but heavy. Tomorrow's going to be chaos. Tomorrow's going to be truth, I said. Let them scramble. Let them apologize to their screens, to their keyboards, to whatever image of themselves they still believe in. He sighed again. You're not scared? I was scared the first 100 times, I said. This time I'm just done being quiet, Evelyn said softly. You sound different. I am, I said. They took my piece last night. I took it back tonight. When the call ended, I didn't turn on the lights. I sat in the dark with my phone still in my hand, imagining them, the ones who laughed, the ones who typed, the ones who watched and said nothing, all scrolling, deleting, apologizing too late. For the first time, I didn't need to raise my voice. My silence was enough. I'm ready, I told my breath, because it needed to hear me before anyone else did. All rise, someone called, and I rose with the room. I felt the wood under my palm and reminded myself I paid for wood like this once. Ms. Brooks, the judge said, voice even. We'll proceed. Proceed, I said, quieter to the part of me that still wanted to run. Mr. Graham started first. It was a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding doesn't call security on its owner, I said. He smirked. Protocol was followed. Racism loves to dress like protocol, I said. It looks tidy from far away. The judge lifted a hand. One at a time. Counsel? Andre stood. Mr. Graham, when Ms. Brooks identified herself, what did you say? I asked for proof, he replied. And when she provided her ID, Andre asked. I remained cautious, he said. Anyone can own a face? I cut in. But not a building with my name on the deed? Ms. Brooks, the judge warned. I'll wait my turn, I said. I've practiced, Andre leaned on the table. Mr. Graham, did you use the phrase, you people? Mr. Graham's jaw tightened. Not in the way she's implying. In what way, then? Andre asked. In the general sense, he said. The general sense, I repeated. Of me, he turned toward me. You people love playing victim, I stood. The room went taut around my spine. You people love pretending you're not the villains. The gavel cracked the air. I felt the echo in my ribs like a drum I owned. The silence after belonged to me. Mr. Graham, the judge said, measured. Control your language. I'm describing behavior, he muttered. You're describing contempt, I said. And you think syllables make it clean? Andre gestured to the screen. Your Honor, permission to display the leaked messages already admitted into evidence. Granted, the judge said. Screens glowed. I didn't look at them. I already knew the lines by Scar, Andre read. Quota higher, angry black woman. Remind her who signs her checks. Mr. Graham, are these your words? Some of those were taken out of context, he replied. I can provide the rest, I said. The context where I'm asked to smile while being erased, the judge nodded to me. You will have a chance to testify fully, Ms. Brooks. I've had chances, I said. They kept getting interrupted by tone policing, Andre continued. Mr. Graham, what made you reach for security instead of the phone to verify ownership? I was protecting the property, he said. You were protecting your comfort, I said. There was never a threat but me refusing to shrink. Ms. Brooks, the judge said again, gentler this time. I'm steady, I said. I promise. Andre shifted focus. Officer, please state your name. Tom, came the reply from the witness chair. I looked at him and watched his eyes bounce away. Look at me, I said. If you're going to testify about me, you can face me. Tom cleared his throat. I responded to the manager. And what did you see? Andre asked. A woman who didn't have a reservation, he said. You saw a black woman? I said. Finish the sentence. He swallowed. I considered the risk. What risk? Andre asked. That she might be disruptive, he said. Disruptive, I repeated. Like wind is disruptive to dust, the judge intervened. Mr. Tom, did Ms. Brooks threaten anyone? No, he said, softer. Did she raise her voice? Andre asked. Not at first, he admitted. And when she did? Andre asked. I'd already radioed escalation, he said. Because of volume, Andre asked. Because I didn't believe her, Tom said, and the words finally found a place to sit. Thank you, I said. Not as grace, but as record. Andre turned to Lily. Ms. Lily, please. She took the chair. I heard the quiver before I saw it. I didn't look for tears. I listened for courage. Did you see Ms. Brooks's identification? Andre asked. Yes, she said, barely audible. And you read her name? He asked. I hesitated, she said. What were you looking for? I asked. Permission, she whispered. From whom? I asked. From the person next to me, she admitted. Not from the person in front of you, I said. Not from truth. I'm sorry, she said, like dropping a coin into a well. Don't be sorry to me, I said. Be sorry to the part of you that knew and chose comfort. Andre clasped his hands. Your Honor, I'd like Ms. Brooks to testify. Proceed, the judge said. I stood and faced the room like it owed me nothing and I owed it everything. I walked into my lobby, I said. I said hello. I gave my name. I handed over proof I'd used to sign mortgages and hire staff and negotiate rates. I watched my name get taken hostage by their disbelief. And your response? Andre asked. I asked them to see me, I said. They chose to see a problem. I asked them to spell trespassing and then spell my name. They reached for a radio before they reached for the truth. What did that feel like? Andre asked. Like being erased while still visible, I said. Like watching someone draw a chalk outline around a living body. Why are we here? He asked. Because private humiliation grows in the dark, I said. Because policy is the mask contempt wears to work. Because I refuse to keep teaching people how to treat me and then grading them on a curve. He nodded. One more question. What do you want from this court? I want record, I said. Not revenge. I want the transcript to outlast their excuses. I want the next black woman who walks into a place she owns to be believed at the door because this record exists. Andre sat. No further questions. Mr. Graham stood too fast. I have questions. You have habits, I said. He ignored me. Miss Brooks, isn't it true you escalated the situation by refusing to comply? I refused to comply with my own erasure, I said. You escalated by insisting your comfort was law. You were aggressive, he said. I was precise, I said. Precision sounds like aggression to people used to being indulged. You enjoy attention, he said. I enjoy oxygen, I said. You tried to take both. You called me a villain, he said. You auditioned, I said. The role fit. He took a breath that tried to be steady. You people? I offered. He blinked. The slip yanked itself to the edge of his tongue and wouldn't jump. You don't belong. He stopped. There it is, I said. The truth arriving late and still recognizable. The judge leaned forward. Mr. Graham, he sagged a half-inch. No more questions. I turned my head just enough for him to hear me and no one else. Now you see me. His eyes slid away. He looked for a wall to hold him up. Walls don't testify, Andre rose again. Your Honor, we've heard claims of protocol, yet every decision hinged on disbelief attached to race. We've heard you people weaponized in daylight. We've heard an admission that a radio outran the truth. We ask the court to affirm what the facts already scream. This was discrimination. The judge's gavel landed once, clean. I felt it not as threat, but as punctuation. Ms. Brooks, the judge said, do you have anything else to add for the record? Yes, I said. I was told to leave before they called the police. Today, I am calling the truth. It arrived. Silence settled over us like a verdict that hadn't yet learned its words. I breathed in the quiet and tasted something new, air that didn't ask me to apologize for using it. They asked you to come, Evelyn said as we walked up the steps, like she was reminding me there were lines to follow even when the lines were mine. They asked me to be civil, I said. I'll be honest, lights like teeth, cameras like small suns, a podium waiting for a practiced voice and a prepared lie. Mr. Graham's hands were already trembling when he stepped up. He unfolded a paper like a man smoothing a blanket over a body. Good morning, he began. On behalf of, don't say we, I said, louder than I intended. Heads turned. Flash. Microphones angled like hungry hands. He blinked, startled, the script cracking. You mean you, I said. Say you. The room held its breath like someone waiting to see if a balloon would pop. My name is Arthur Graham, he read, voice thinner without the safety of we. I'm sorry. The apology came out like a rehearsed cough. For what? I asked, concise. The camera found my face and refused to blink. He swallowed hard. Papers shuffled. For the incident in our lobby last night. We deeply regret. You keep saying we, I said. Say what you did. Say what you meant. He looked at the rows of lenses and then at me, like the answer might change shape if aimed at a crowd. I'm sorry for how it appeared, he said, tentative. For being caught? I asked. The words sounded cruel in my ears only because they were true. He flinched. No, for the distress caused. The distress you caused, I corrected. Words matter, Arthur. A murmur moved through the press like wind through dry grass. A reporter leaned forward. Mr. Graham, did you say you people? He closed his eyes for a half-second. There was a remark that was insensitive. Insensitive? I repeated, incredulous. That's what you call the sentence that names me as other. Insensitive is for napkins, not for statements that erase a person. The camera zoomed in until his face was a study in flinches. He tried to steady himself. I never intended. Intent isn't the bar here, I said. The outcome is. You placed your comfort ahead of my right to exist in a building I own. That's not an accident. Ms. Brooks, a reporter started. Call me Maya, I said. Call me the owner of your nightly stay. Call me the voice you ignored last night. Another reporter asked, What do you want from this moment, Ms. Brooks? I felt my pulse in the base of my throat. I want a truth that lasts longer than a press conference. I want a record that says when someone sees me, they must believe me until proven otherwise. Is this about firing Mr. Graham? Someone else asked, eager for spectacle. It's about accountability, I said. If accountability looks like jobs restructured, then yes, let consequence be the grammar of change. Mr. Graham's hand found the podium like a man seeking a scripture he'd never read. We will launch sensitivity training, he said. We will review our policies. Policies don't feel like policies when they let a woman out a building she owns, I said. Policies feel like curtains you draw so you don't have to look. A camera caught the slight twitch at his mouth. His jaw loosened. We are committed to optics, I finished for him. You're committed to optics. I need commitment to change. Evelyn's whisper came at my ear, a feather of reassurance. You did it, she breathed. I let a small smile slip free, the kind that isn't victory but a recognition. Not yet, I answered under my breath. They'll clap today and whisper tomorrow. Ms. Brooks, a reporter pressed, do you accept his apology? I accept accountability, I said. Apologies are cheap. Records are expensive. I want both if both are sincere. Mr. Graham's voice wavered. I apologize to Ms. Brooks. I am sorry. For being caught? I asked again, softer this time, so that the microphone would carry the distinction. Or for being cruel? He looked at me, finally, without the middleman of PR training. His eyes slid away. Both, he said, almost inaudible. That's the beginning, I said. Not the end. A hand shot up in the crowd. Ms. Brooks, are you satisfied that this will change anything? I felt the weight in the room tilt toward me like a scale waiting for truth. Satisfaction isn't my aim, I said. Skepticism is healthy. Let them be skeptical and then watch what we do next. Talk is cheap. Action costs. Are you prepared for backlash? Another voice asked, already tasting the angle. I was prepared for silence, I said. Backlash is louder and easier to measure. Silence is the enemy. Mr. Graham cleared his throat and tried to regain composure. We will conduct a full internal investigation. We will... Stay honest, I said. If you leave out the ugly parts to protect yourself, you'll only stitch a prettier lie. He closed his eyes like a man blessing himself. Understood. A camera light flared. Someone's phone held up a live stream. My face appeared in strangers' palms across the city, my words a small flame. Evelyn's hand found mine and squeezed. You changed the narrative, she whispered. You change the narrative with what comes after, I replied. Today is press. Tomorrow is practice. Someone from the press asked, will you pursue legal action? I want record, I said again. If record leads to legal remedies, then so be it. My priority is to make sure the next person who walks into a room like this is believed on sight. Mr. Graham muttered something about restorative measures. I let it go in one ear that yearned to spit and out the other that wanted to build. Final question, the moderator said. Any last words, Ms. Brooks? I looked at the lenses, the faces, the people who would go back to offices and servers and comfortable meetings. Racism isn't a mistake, I said, steady now, the room tightening around each syllable. It's a decision. His face collapsed like a house of cards finally touched by wind. Cameras bloomed. The murmurs swelled, not with mockery, but with the recognition that a sentence had landed where it needed to. As we left, someone called, Congratulations! I let the word pass over me like rain over stone. Evelyn leaned close and said again, You did it. I tightened my fingers around her hand. Not yet, I said. They'll clap today, but they'll whisper tomorrow. I want to make sure their whispers have to answer to something louder. The air felt different this morning, lighter, the kind of quiet that doesn't demand silence. It earns it. I sat in the same lobby where they'd once told me I didn't belong, the same marble under my heels, the same light pouring through the tall glass. But the energy had changed. It bowed now, not from fear, but respect. Morning, Ms. Brooks, one of the new concierges said, smiling as she handed a guest their keys. Her tone carried no tremor, no doubt, just professionalism with warmth. I nodded, letting that small normalcy do what speeches couldn't. Repair something invisible. Evelyn approached from behind. Her footsteps had always been easy to recognize, hesitant but purposeful. She stopped beside me. It's strange, she said. The lobby feels bigger. It's not bigger, I said. It's freer. Walls remember how they've been spoken to. She gave a small, almost shy laugh. You think buildings hold memory? I know they do, I said. I built this one with mine. We watched for a moment. Guests checking in, staff greeting them with practiced ease. No stares, no whispers, no cautious scanning of faces for permission to belong. Just work. Human and even. Evelyn broke the quiet again. Do you forgive them? The question landed softly but still burned. No, I said after a pause. Forgiveness is earned, not demanded. She nodded, though her eyes lingered on me like she wanted to understand the difference between peace and pardon. I thought maybe. After everything, you'd want to let it go, she said. I did let it go, I said. I just didn't hand it to them while I did. The silence between us wasn't awkward. It was knowing. Andre joined us a few minutes later, jacket folded over one arm, that same half smirk he used to wear when he knew I'd proven a point without raising my voice. So this is it, he said. Back under your name. No more board interference, no PR distractions. Full control. Control isn't the reward, I said. Clarity is. He looked around the lobby, nodding toward the new faces at the desk. They seem different. They are, I said. Hired for competence. Trained for empathy. Not one of them asked me to prove who I was when I walked in this morning. Andre chuckled. You've changed, Maya. No, I said. I've just stopped explaining my worth. He tilted his head, eyes narrowing in mock approval. I liked you better when you were just a little bit reckless. I was never reckless, I said. I was tired of swallowing my anger to make other people comfortable. He leaned against the counter beside me. You burned the old image down. I looked at him calm. Some fires don't destroy. They purify. Evelyn watched me quietly. You sound peaceful. I am, I said. Peace doesn't come from apologies. It comes from knowing you can never be erased again. For a moment, I let myself just sit in it, the hum of low conversation, the faint scent of coffee from the lobby bar, the quiet rustle of guests moving through a space that was once a battleground. My chest loosened. I hadn't realized how long I'd been breathing shallow, expecting the next dismissal, the next polite insult wrapped in corporate language. Andre checked his watch. Press wants a follow-up interview next week. They're calling it a redemption arc. I smiled without humor. Redemption isn't a headline. It's a mirror. He looked at me, searching for the sting in my tone. There wasn't any left. Evelyn spoke again. You don't hate them, do you? Hate? I thought about it. No, hate ties you to them. I severed that rope the moment I walked back in here. What I feel now is distance. And if they walked in today? She asked. I'd let them, I said. Let them see what thriving without their approval looks like. Evelyn smiled. You're colder than you used to be. Colder, I said, or finally not burning myself just to keep them warm. She didn't answer. She didn't need to. I rose from the chair and walked toward the mirror across from the reception desk, the same one that had once reflected me as a stranger, out of place in her own creation. Now the reflection stood steady, still, unflinching. Andre's voice drifted from behind. You really did rebuild everything? I met my own eyes in the glass. I built this place from nothing, I said. The words came easier now. No tremor. No need to defend them. Then softer. To my reflection. To the woman who finally looked like her own foundation. And I rebuilt me too. The conference room still smelled faintly of glass cleaner and old ambition. My footsteps echoed sharper than I remembered. I didn't turn on the full lights, just one lamp in the corner, enough to carve me out of the shadows. This is where it started, I whispered, though no one was there to answer. And where it ended. The chairs were lined neatly now, polished, waiting. I ran my hand across the table, feeling the faint groove where a ring must have scraped the wood years ago. Maybe mine, maybe theirs. Ownership used to matter that way. Physical, provable, signed. It doesn't anymore. Presence does. I sat down, folding my hands where I once had to grip them tight to keep from trembling. You never saw me as human, I said softly, to the walls, to the ghosts, to the air that had listened before and pretended not to hear. You saw a problem dressed like a woman, a story you could rewrite mid-sentence. Silence answered, steady and familiar. Not hostile this time, Just honest. I used to think if I spoke the right words, softened the edges, smiled enough, maybe you'd see me. Not the black woman you feared, not the headline you joked about, just me. I exhaled slowly. Turns out visibility isn't the same as value. You saw me when it was convenient. My voice didn't shake. It didn't need to. Pain had already taught me fluency and control. I remember the laughter, I said. The glances that told me I'd crossed some invisible line. I used to wonder what made you so certain of your right to dismiss me. Was it money? Color? History? I shook my head. It was comfort. You lived in a world where my discomfort kept your comfort intact. I leaned back, the chair creaking softly. But here's the thing about comfort. It makes people sloppy. It makes them believe silence equals safety. I was quiet once. You mistook it for consent. The words filled the room, then fell quiet again, like ripples reaching the edge of a pool. For a moment, I let that quiet settle, not as loneliness, but as space reclaimed. I used to leave this room feeling smaller, I said. Now I leave knowing I expanded beyond it. My fingers brushed the table's edge once more. The wood was cool, smooth, unbothered by memory, unlike me. But even unbothered things can hold truth. They thought power was ownership, I said, standing slowly. I learned it was presence. No audience. No applause. Just my reflection in the glass wall, steady, breathing, unafraid. The room didn't need to answer. It already had. The chandeliers hummed with light, gold spilling over the walls like forgiveness I hadn't granted. 5 years. My hotel, my name, carved into every invitation, printed across every champagne flute. I stood near the center of the lobby, the same spot I'd once been told I didn't belong in. I belonged now, completely. Evelyn was talking to a group of reporters nearby when I saw them, two shadows cutting through the brightness. Lily walked a step behind Mr. Graham, both of them older, edges dulled by regret. His hair had thinned. Her eyes darted around like someone walking into a memory she didn't want to claim. I didn't move. I let them come to me. Maya, Mr. Graham started, voice unsteady, like a man remembering how to speak a name he once spat. We just wanted to see how you've been. How I've been, I said, almost laughing. You could have asked 5 years ago. I was right here. You just didn't look. He swallowed hard. I know. I was wrong. Wrong? I said, tilting my head. You were racist, Graham. Wrong was just the symptom. The crowd nearby went still, sound thinning into polite, brittle silence. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. Truth, spoken calmly, was the loudest weapon I owned. He nodded slowly. I deserve that. No, I said. You deserve to live with what you did, not just remember it when it's convenient. Lily stepped forward, voice trembling. I didn't mean to what? I asked. To question my identity? To let it happen? To watch and stay quiet? She opened her mouth, then closed it again. Tears gathered at the corners of her eyes. I told myself I was just following protocol, she whispered. Protocol, I repeated, letting the word taste like dust. That's what people call fear when they want it to sound professional. Mr. Graham took a breath. You've done well, Maya, better than any of us could have imagined. I imagined it, I said. That's the difference between me and you. He looked around, at the staff, the music, the flash of cameras. You turned this place into something beautiful. I rebuilt it, I said quietly. Just like I rebuilt myself. He nodded, eyes shining. I know you'll never forgive me. You're right, I said. Forgiveness isn't part of the contract. But understanding, that's free. You can start there. Evelyn approached from behind me, handing me a glass of champagne. They came back, she murmured. They needed to, I said. Mr. Graham looked at her, then back at me. If you'd told me 5 years ago that I'd walk into your hotel and feel small... He stopped, voice catching. I don't even know if I should say thank you or sorry. Say neither, I said. Just listen. I turned toward the stage. My voice carried easily now, practiced by truth. 5 years ago, I was thrown out of this hotel. My hotel. Tonight, I stand here surrounded by people who believed I couldn't recover from that moment. Applause started somewhere near the back. Soft at first, then steady. I did recover, I said. Not because of revenge, but because I learned something about power. Power isn't control. It's endurance. I glanced toward Mr. Graham and Lily. And endurance doesn't mean forgetting. It means standing in the same room as your past and refusing to shrink. I paused, letting the words land. In honor of that lesson, I continued, the Brooks Foundation will launch 2 annual scholarships, one for hospitality management and one for ethics in leadership. They'll carry the names of 2 people who taught me, unintentionally, how important it is to see before you judge. Lily's breath hitched. Mr. Graham's eyes dropped to the floor. Poetic justice, Andre had called it when I'd told him the plan. But it wasn't about justice anymore. It was about balance. I raised my glass. To learning. Even when it's late, the room echoed with the soft chime of crystal. Mr. Graham tried to speak again, voice breaking. You're remarkable. No, I said. I'm inevitable. That's what happens when you underestimate a woman and call it order. He nodded once, silently. Lily wiped her face, whispering, Thank you. For what? I asked. For not destroying us, she said. I looked at her steady. I did destroy you, just not the way you expected. They both stood there, quiet, humbled, small. And for the first time, I didn't feel anger. I felt peace. Evelyn touched my arm. It's done. It's transformed, I corrected. Done means finished. This is evolution. As the crowd drifted back to laughter and music, I glanced once more at the door where I'd once been escorted out like a trespasser. 5 minutes after you threw me out, I said softly, mostly to myself, I decided you'd never control me again. Now, 5 years later, I kept that promise. As glasses clinked and conversations filled the air, I breathed in, steady, quiet, whole. I fired them once. Now I freed them, by letting them live with their memories.